George Lucas had many ideas for the Star Wars universe and only so many ways to get them to his audience. And for the record, his audience wasn't actually expected to exist upon the release of the first Star Wars installation, Episode 4, A New Hope. But for those of us who have enjoyed the Star Wars saga throughout the years, a question has most likely come up. Why was the first episode Lucas released the fourth and not the first? When watching the first film, Episode 4, we can see how subtly the not yet revealed aspects of the story were being hinted at. For instance, in A New Hope, there are references to the Clone Wars and the Jedi Council without any further explanation. This gives a sense of our window into the Star Wars world being limited and creates a sense of immersion, that there is a lot happening which we have yet to learn. This is perhaps because more Star Wars movies were always a part of Lucas's vision, but after the failure of his first film, THX 1138, the studios were reluctant to fund his potentially ridiculous Star Wars idea. So since his original script was far too long to be adapted to a single film, he decided to condense the story into chapters. And in doing so, he ended up mixing and matching certain elements. For instance, in his original script, the Death Star was only going to appear in Episode 6. But because there was no promise he was ever going to be able to make another Star Wars movie, the superweapon was moved to Episode 4. This is also why it appears twice. But none of this information was known by the public when the first Star Wars, Episode 4, was released. Episode 4 was simply called Star Wars, and it was referred to as such for decades following its initial release. Eventually, though, Lucas completed Episodes 5 and 6 and revealed that these episodes were the middle of a 9-episode saga. Over time, Lucas' original story was forced to morph into the episodes that we have come to know. And this was only after Lucas making bold deals with the studios, focusing on other projects for a time, and eventually returning to complete the prequels. It's fair to say that by George Lucas releasing Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope first, he established a foundation he could build on.